So good evening. I'm back again. So I did want to just take some time out. I was actually gonna take a little time out to study a little bit more for the boards, but this story that I just read is actually something that has more of my attention at this point. So I'm reading an article about a couple out of Hamilton County, Ohio. It was a guy by the name of William Turnage, who's 59, and his girlfriend Tamara Moore, 53, who are facing charges currently after leaving an adoptive son in a utility closet, I think it was, from what I'm reading, without food and just completely neglected. So he's 16 years old and he has severe autism, and they were depriving him of all of the needs that he needed, such as food, water, and all of the necessities for human survival. So it was reported that they were purposely neglecting him, and the charges are currently being hashed out in law enforcement at this point. The 53-year-old female adoptive mother is currently denying any involvement in pleading not guilty, which is complete BS. They were together. She had to be fully aware of the circumstances if she was indeed the adoptive mother, and the male that was involved was the adoptive father. So the thing that obviously hits home for me is the fact that if you take on the serious task or the very important task or the very significant task of adopting a child, you have to always, it has to be coming from a genuine, a very kind, a very generous, a very good place, because you want to provide a good home and a good environment to a young person who was probably exposed to some unfortunate circumstances and some pretty harsh beginnings and living situations to begin with. And that's usually the reason I would hope somebody would consider adopting someone and to giving them a better quality of life. But to adopt a young person and they're already vulnerable, considering the fact that they have a severe disability with autism, and you're choosing to inflict further harm, make them suffer even further. I just think that is probably one of the lowest, most disgusting situations that I've heard. Granted, I've heard some pretty horrific and upsetting situations where children have been neglected and abused, but to have this disabled child reduced to living in a utility closet in the basement. And from my understanding, the autopsy results showed that he had zero digested food in his GI tract, which means that they were actively starving this young man. And it's just disgusting. I just don't understand why people just deem it necessary to do such heinous and evil things to other living people. There's no way in hell either one of these people would want to be put in a situation where they are being starved or they're being reduced to a small confined area and not being able to get their basic needs met. So if you know that that's something that would be horrific and something that's unfathomable for you to have to endure, why would you want to put that on somebody, or why would you want somebody else to suffer in that manner? It's just sickening. It's disgusting. And I know that this story is still developing, but it's something that caught my attention, and I'm just completely disgusted. I hope that this man and this woman get the full extent of the legal prosecution that the law can serve in this particular instance, because that is disgusting. That is very disheartening, and I just can't even imagine what kind of suffering and and fear and everything that came along with it for this young person to have to go through to finally succumb to the severe negligence and starvation that was inflicted. I mean, it's just, I don't get it. I just don't understand these people. I'm just disgusted with the fact that there's so many people out here that's just thinking it's okay to neglect and harm and just and then to violent and then to look for an opportunity to do it by adopting somebody that's less fortunate or has a disability. It just makes no sense to me. This world is just in really disgusting shape. And I pray that God continues to keep me strong and able-bodied enough to raise my kids to a point where they're independent and don't have to succumb to things such as this. I mean, this young person, there's no reason why this young person should have suffered like that. That had to be a terrifying, horrible circumstance. That's horrible for a person that doesn't have a disability and a person that's has all of their faculties and that's able to function. That's bad enough for a person like that. But if you have a significant disability where he may possibly have been nonverbal and has some other deficits, and then to have somebody mistreating them in such a horrible manner, it just breaks my heart to the fullest extent. So I hope the full extent of the law is given to the people that inflicted this horrible situation on this young person. We just got to do better, man. This shit is just sickening.